Good evening and welcome to Kenya News Update today. I'm your host, and we're diving into a complex web of international political developments that connect Washington, Nairobi, and global power corridors. Tonight's central story: the House Oversight Committee has voted to hold former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton in contempt of Congress. This is not about a simple subpoena dispute. This contempt citation is directly tied to the committee's ongoing investigation into the Jeffrey Epstein network, specifically seeking testimony and documents about the Clintons' connections and travels on Epstein's aircraft. This is a seismic political event, and we will unpack its legal, political, and global implications over the next 12 minutes. But first, we must understand this action within a broader, more turbulent context. In the last 48 hours alone, we've seen a French naval seizure of a Russian oil tanker in the Mediterranean, reportedly on UK intelligence, a controversial new ICE memo asserting warrantless home entry powers, and a violent shooting during a DHS operation in Los Angeles. These are not isolated incidents. They are pressure points in a global system under strain. And from Nairobi, a high court has just ordered the halt of pay for President William Ruto's 21 advisors, ruling their appointments unconstitutional. The common thread? Accountability, power, and the mechanisms of oversight, or the lack thereof. Tonight, we examine these threads as they weave a picture of institutional conflict on a world stage. Let's begin with the contempt vote itself. The House Oversight Committee, led by Chairman James Comer, voted along party lines to recommend the full House hold the Clintons in contempt. The charge, willful refusal to comply with subpoenas for testimony and records related to their dealings with the late financier and convicted sex offender, Jeffrey Epstein. The committee is seeking flight logs, communications, and detailed accounts of any meetings. The Clintons' legal team has argued the requests are overly broad, politically motivated, and infringe on privacy. But Chairman Comer stated, and I quote, "The American people deserve to know the full extent of the Clintons' relationship with this predator and his network. Their obstruction will not stand." This sets up a dramatic constitutional clash. If the full House approves the contempt resolution, the matter would be referred to the Justice Department for potential prosecution. Given that the current Attorney General serves under President Trump, who has long been a political rival of the Clintons, the potential for an unprecedented prosecution of a former president and a former Secretary of State is very real. The political stakes are incalculable. This move energizes the base of the Republican-controlled House, but risks appearing as a partisan vendetta. Democrats on the committee unanimously opposed the measure, calling it a witch hunt designed to smear political opponents ahead of the 2026 midterms. The debate is fierce. Is this legitimate congressional oversight of powerful figures connected to a criminal enterprise, or is it weaponizing a tragedy for political gain? To understand the gravity, we must look at the financial scale involved. The Epstein network operated across borders, with assets and connections spanning the globe. While exact figures tied to the Clintons are part of the investigation, the broader financial ecosystem of such operations is staggering. Consider global, illicit financial flows. According to some estimates, the shadow economy that facilitates everything from sanctions evasion to human trafficking moves hundreds of billions annually. For perspective, Russia's so-called shadow fleet of oil tankers, like the one just seized by France, is estimated to be part of a system circumventing sanctions worth over $290 billion. The French action, reportedly guided by UK intelligence, signals a new aggressiveness in intercepting these flows. Now, juxtapose that with the alleged financial architecture of the Epstein operation. While not on that scale, it was sophisticated. Investigative reports have suggested entities and trusts moving funds internationally. The committee is reportedly examining transactions in the tens of millions of dollars range. But the true cost isn't just in currency. It's in the erosion of public trust in institutions when the powerful appear insulated. This probe intersects with other massive financial stories: the $433 billion in pandemic relief funds flagged for potential fraud in the US, or the $559 billion global art market, another haven for opaque wealth. The question the Oversight Committee is implicitly asking: did wealth and connections provide a shield? This brings us directly to Kenya and a parallel story of accountability. Just as the U.S. House challenges former executives, Kenya's High Court has challenged its sitting president. Judge Bahati Mwamui ruled that President William Ruto violated the Constitution by appointing 21 advisors in a secret, opaque, and illegal manner. the court ordered the Public Service Commission to immediately halt their pay. This is a stunning judicial rebuke. The judge found the positions were not competitively filled and bypassed the Salaries and Remuneration Commission and the PSC. Lawyer Lempasayenka and the Katiba Institute brought the case, arguing for the rule of law. President Ruto, who signed a significant bill into law just this week, now faces a direct check on his executive authority. The estimated cost of these 21 advisors. While the exact figure is contested, similar positions in government have drawn salaries and allowances that can run into millions of Kenyan shillings annually per person. For a nation grappling with economic challenges, the symbolism is potent. It's a fight over the structure of power, the executive's prerogative to appoint versus constitutional mandates for transparency and competitive process. This Kenyan ruling echoes the theme in Washington: who watches the watchers? Who holds the powerful to account? Now, let's layer in the breaking immigration enforcement stories from the United States, as they create a contrasting picture of state power. First, an internal ICE memo has asserted that officers have the power to forcibly enter homes without a judicial warrant in certain circumstances, a move civil liberties groups call a dramatic and dangerous expansion of authority. Second, in Los Angeles, a DHS agent was injured in a shooting during an immigration enforcement operation that went wrong. Details are still emerging, but it points to the volatile on-the-ground reality of these policies. These events show a state apparatus flexing its muscle domestically, entering homes without warrants, conducting high-risk operations, while in the Clinton case, Congress is struggling to compel testimony from former state leaders. The irony is stark. One branch of government asserts near unchecked power over private dwellings of ordinary people and non-citizens, while another branch fights a pitched battle to extract information from the most powerful of citizens. This dichotomy fuels the political debate. Supporters of aggressive immigration enforcement argue strong domestic security is paramount, and the Clinton investigation is about justice for victims. Critics see a pattern: overwhelming force applied downward, and obstruction tolerated upward. Let's visualize a key financial comparison that sits at the heart of these accountability debates. We're looking at alleged financial scales.